Atrium Fragrance is our brand that's on a mission to create the 5 ultimate fragrances. It is for men who want to see creativity, luxury, and affordability in the fragrance industry. Link in the description below.
They call me B-Tech Jeremy, Fragrance Tate, and basically Dwayne Johnson. Okay, I don't get called the last one, but that's right. Today, guys, you've guessed it, we are doing cologne fragrances. I got contacted on Instagram by Luxe Parfum, who are a UK distributor for Armaf fragrances, who contacted me and asked, do I want to review the recent releases by Armaf, the new Club De Nuit releases that are called Iconic, Untold, and Urban Elixir. I believe they're cloning Baccarat Rouge, Bleu de Chanel, and Dior Sauvage. I said to them, yes. So these are gifted fragrances for free. I haven't been paid for this review, but I've been sent these for free, these bottles. I'm going to be brutal today. I'm going to be comparing these fragrances against their original counterparts. I'm very keen to review these fragrances because they have been getting a lot of hype on Fragrantica. I think all 3 of them have been highly rated, and you know, a lot of talk has been going on, especially for Untold. Apparently it's a very good dupe of Baccarat Rouge. So let's go and open up these 3 bottles. The watch is coming off. I need this extra wrist space. Let's get started. We're going to start off with Club De Nuit's Iconic. So I believe this is their clone of Bleu de Chanel, which might be very useful. I don't think Bleu de Chanel has many clones. I think it has just the Missoni Wave Parfum, which is a cheapie of Bleu de Chanel, but apparently I've read it's like more like 80–85% similarity. I want these fragrances to be a lot closer, maybe 90 to 95%. So we're opening the box. I like the box so far. The packaging looks better than their original Club De Nuit fragrance packaging so far. Not bad. I like the color design, but I'm not sure about this weird swirly Spider-Man pattern we got going on here. There it is, guys, a bit closer. Club De Nuit Iconic. Not bad packaging overall. I like the deep blue color going on here, but whatever. The packaging is cool, you know. No, I think it is worth talking about packaging. A lot of guys say, you know, who cares about packaging? But I think it's definitely part of the experience and it's cool. So let's try spraying this on. My gripe with a lot of Club De Nuit bottles is this: the atomizer always feels tacky and cheap. It always squeak a little bit. They're like a little mouse in every spray, which is a bit weird. So hopefully the sprayer works better here. We're gonna do first impressions today. It's all gonna be the same video for you guys, but today I'm gonna be doing first impressions on this clip here, and then I'm gonna give each of these fragrances a full wearing, and then we're gonna discuss them at the end. So let's see how the atomizer is. Terrible. No, not a fan of the atomizer still to this day. They basically used the same one as the original. Yeah, not a fan. It doesn't smell that similar to Bleu de Chanel. It's more sharp, synthetic, musky. I think I can see the DNA coming through, but I think this is going to need to dry down for that Bleu de Chanel similarity to come through. Kind of similar to the original Club De Nuit. Everyone says it smelled like lemon pledge at Eau de Toilette, and then Aventus DNA came after that, after the first 20 minutes or so. So maybe I think that's what's happening here as well. It's definitely got the Bleu de Chanel vibe going for it, but it's not that similar so far, and it smells a lot more synthetic. We'll need to do a full wearing. Then we have Club De Nuit Urban Man Elixir, which is meant to be a clone of Sauvage, I believe. Does Dior Sauvage need a clone? I think actually Armaf, was it Armaf that made some clones of it already? I think they already made, who made Hunter? Yeah, I thought Armaf made Hunter Intense, but I think that phrase got discontinued. So I guess now it's quite handy that they've made another Sauvage clone. You know, I think Sauvage is very popular, but some guys think it's too expensive, so fair enough. I think it might be very useful to have a clone like this. Packaging is really cool. It's kind of glittery, and it's got this very like army camo vibe going on for it. That's a cool bottle. It's a little bit see-through, has cool writing on it. It's like the original Club De Nuit bottle, but it's more see-through this time around. Pretty cool. What do you guys think? Okay, I have no faith in the atomizer anymore. Let's just spray to see what's going on. Actually, why is this atomizer better? What the hell? That's really impressive. Actually, that's very close to Sauvage. Maybe they've gotten so much practice in with the Hunter series that they've actually got this nailed down. Funnily enough, it smells a little bit more natural, peppery than Sauvage itself. I kind of feel like they've balanced it out a little bit more, sort of going very heavy on the lavender and ambroxan here, but it definitely gives off the Sauvage DNA. They may have improved the opening of Sauvage. I need more time with this. We've got to give it a full wearing. And of course, the one that's getting all the hype right now is Club De Nuit Untold. This is meant to be a Baccarat Rouge dupe. We have a lot of Baccarat Rouge dupes, so is this necessary? We got Ariana Grande's Cloud, which is probably more feminine than most dupes. We have Instant Crush, which is not exactly a clone as Mancera's take on the DNA. It's actually quite a different fragrance. The box is not bad, it's kind of cute, but I think the bottle is actually really impressive. I think it's a cool design. It's got like a intense pink gold gradient thing going on. For the camera, for you guys to have a look, what do you guys think about this bottle design? It's pretty cool, it stands out. I have very high hopes. I think it'd be very cool if this does succeed, because I think having a Baccarat Rouge dupe is very handy. Although I do think Baccarat Rouge is so artistic, and actually I do like saying that it's worth the price. But let's try this out, let's see, maybe I'll change my mind. This is Untold Atomizer. Yeah, not bad. Wow, got a whiff of that in the air. That's the closest of the three, actually, I think. Very similar DNA. It's kind of like a middle ground between Instant Crush and the original Baccarat Rouge. It doesn't have that same sparkling and fizzy, effervescent effect that the original Baccarat Rouge has, but if you can find this at a good price, actually, I think so far this might be a winner. Very creamy, woody, floral. It's definitely got the Baccarat Rouge DNA going on here, very strong. I think, you know, after I do the full wearings, guys, you go to the other clip, I would have researched all the prices as well to see if they are worth it. So, I'm gonna give you all a full wearing, 1 day each. Let's go to the next clip. See you guys in a second.
Several days later.
Okay, I'm back. I've given every fragrance in this video a full wearing. So what I've done is I applied some fragrance on one side of the neck, on the other side, one wrist, and then I took the original fragrance that is cloning, I put a tiny little dab on the other wrist so that the C-arch isn't influenced by the original too much, but I can still kind of compare them side by side. Of course, it's not a perfect review. I've only given each of these one wearing, but I'm going to give them a ranking from the third, my least favorite, to my most favorite as number 1. So let's get started. I'm ranking Club De Nuit Iconic as number 3. So I was comparing this fragrance to my Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum because that's the only version I currently own. However, I kind of feel like Iconic sits in between the Eau de Toilette and the Eau de Parfum. I'm kind of nitpicking. Bleu de Chanel, in general, all three versions of it are very similar to each other. However, the first 20 minutes of this fragrance doesn't smell like Bleu de Chanel. It's really a bad clone at that point because it smells very synthetic. They've gone too heavy on the grapefruit, not enough amber, and it's got these weird musks that are unique to it. But then after 20 minutes, this becomes a lot more similar to Bleu de Chanel. It becomes, I say, 90% similar. It's quite impressive. 6 to 8 hours longevity, which is pretty good. It's only just a little bit under Bleu de Chanel. In my opinion, Bleu de Chanel performs pretty well, get 8 hours with it. So the performance isn't, you know, mind-blowing, but it's a good fragrance for a cheaper alternative to Bleu de Chanel. Now the problem is the price is what I found online was about £60. 50 ml of Bleu de Chanel is about £75, £78, and 100 ml is £100. I feel that this fragrance is not going to take Bleu de Chanel out of the runnings. I still think Bleu de Chanel is better than this. However, I find that the price is what's making me not gravitate towards this. I feel like if this fragrance was maybe £40 for 100 ml, that would be an excellent, cheapy alternative to Bleu de Chanel. And younger guys who want to save money in general, could use this instead of Bleu de Chanel. I feel like for £60, it's quite a big asking price. I feel like if you own several fragrances in your collection, you can just get a 50 ml of Bleu de Chanel. You're probably not going to go through all that very quickly, and then you can you spend a little bit more than this price tag and you get that instead. So this is number 3. Number 2 is Club De Nuit's Untold. I wasn't that impressed by this compared to all the reviews and hype I'm seeing for this online. This is what I would say a 85 to 90% similar fragrance to Baccarat Rouge. I compare this against the Eau de Parfum of Baccarat Rouge. It is what I would say a more thick, creamy and floral version of Baccarat Rouge. It smells similar to it straight away, you definitely get the vibes, but there is a significant difference. I feel like it has more of a similarity in its scent profile rather than its texture. If you know what I mean, if you smell Baccarat Rouge, you know it has a sort of texture to its scent. It's sparkly, effervescent, it's transparent, but at the same time strong. It has a strange magical quality to it because of that. This is a little more thick, heavy, it's not transparent, it's kind of a little bit Middle Eastern. For that reason, the way I'm describing this scent profile, I'm actually getting a lot of instant crush you know, recognition from this fragrance. I feel like this fragrance sits in between Mancera's Instant Crush, the thick and creamy Baccarat Rouge, and then it sits in between that fragrance and Baccarat Rouge 540 EDP. So I kind of find that this is not bad for the price. It's like £40. Longevity is okay, it's like 8 hours. It's the projection that's the biggest gripe for me. This is like a soft to medium projection fragrance, whilst Baccarat Rouge, most people associate it with being a loud fragrance, like an attention grabber. So This is not a bad fragrance for the price. If you want a daily Baccarat Rouge dupe that is good quality, it's got a lot of, you know, most of the similarity is there, then you can use this. It is going to be a good daily driver. If you want a louder, you know, clone or similar vibe fragrance to Baccarat Rouge, then go for Instant Crush. This does not replace the original Baccarat Rouge. It is still magical. I still think it's easily worth its price tag. Of course, you got to try it first. Baccarat Rouge is a very unique fragrance, but I do think it is worth its price tag. This comes in number 2. And number 1, I'm putting Club De Nuit's Urban Man Elixir. This really impressed me. This never quite becomes an exact replica of Sauvage, but it's definitely a very similar vibe in the air. I would say it's 85% similar up close on the skin and 90% similar in the air. By the way, guys, these percentages are very arbitrary. I've kind of given them to you so you have a general idea. That's just these are my estimations essentially. It smells quite musky and earthy. I actually feel like a lot of the base notes here are what they use in the original Club De Nuit. I'm getting a lot of those similar vibes. They probably use patchouli and ambergris that are used in that fragrance over here as well. And because of that earthiness, you know, what's the organic elements that we associate with all life and earth? You know, carbon. We associate carbon with that. And that's why this fragrance sort of reminds me of Prada Luna Rosa Carbon. And so far, you know, how I'm describing these fragrances, they're sitting in between 2 different fragrances. I feel like this Urban Man Elixir sits in between Prada Luna Rosa Carbon and Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette. It is still, you know, citrusy, bright, musky, not as heavy on the ambroxan, so it's a little bit smoother than Sauvage in that way, but I still feel like Sauvage smells more luxurious. This has an impressive performance. I get about 10 hours longevity with a medium amount projection, so it's not as loud as Sauvage, but it's still going to compete with it. It's a very good performer. Now the price, you know, when you think of Sauvage, it's not horribly expensive. You know, you can get a bottle of Sauvage, even if it's 60 ml for like £65, £70 maybe these days. That is not a bad price, and you know, so if this was priced at like £50, I'd be like, this isn't worth it. But I found this online for like £30 or £35, which is not bad at all. You're getting 100 ml, I think it's 105 ml of this for about £35. That is a good daily driver, a good cheap alternative to Sauvage. It gets it quite similar, it has good performance. This is not an absolute must-buy, but it's still very good value for money. That's because Prada Luna Rosa Carbon exists. Prada Luna Rosa Carbon kind of does its own thing compared to Sauvage. This is more of a clone compared to Sauvage. So if you want something that's even cheaper than Carbon, then this is a good option to go for. You don't need to get it, but it's definitely a good fragrance to exist. I appreciate it. I think they've done a really good job with this. And that's my review for the latest releases from Club De Nuit. Thank you again to LuxSense for sending them over to me. I hope you guys enjoyed my review and my ranking of them. Of course, the original Club De Nuit Intense Man was a bit more of a revolutionary scent because I feel like fragrance clones were less mainstream before that fragrance came along. These are fragrances now, these 3, or at least 2 of these are competing against fragrances that aren't as extremely priced. They're not in the hundreds of pounds. You can get Bleu de Chanel Sauvage a bit cheaper, so it's not as mind-blowing to get a clone of those fragrances, but it's still useful to have these to exist. I think all 3, and none of them are bad. I don't think you'll be unhappy if you got any of them. Just bear in mind that a lot of the times, I think you're going to get what you pay for fragrances in general. So if you're paying for a cheaper fragrance, expect a cheaper blend, honestly. I do think all 3 of these, their originals are still more luxurious, but of course you're paying more money. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. I did a previous video on the other Club De Nuit releases a few years back. If you guys want to check that out, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.